Good afternoon or good evening, everybody. This is the Fantastic at Munipoli Matters from Substack, and I am very pleased to be doing another candidate interview with one of this number of candidates running in this year's municipal election in Ontario. Of course, there's also municipal elections in BC, Manitoba, and Prince Edward Island, as well as, of course, right now, as of this recording, there's a provincial election campaign going on, elections on June 2nd. I am very pleased tonight to be joined by Mr. Brennan Bempong, is it?
Bempong, yeah, you said it
Bempong.
correct.
Yes, Brennan is running in the city of Mississauga, and he will be running for city councillor in Ward 10. So Brennan, welcome to my show, I guess, and I'm very glad that you're here. How are you tonight?
I'm doing very well. It's been a busy last 2 weeks. As you know, once you file your nomination papers, a lot of running around, a lot of things to get started, but I'm ready for the journey.
Yeah, did you register right on May 2nd, like the first day, or maybe a few
Yes,
days?
right on May 2nd, I registered. I had an appointment at the bank to open the bank account. And then as soon as that was done, I was head over to City Hall and got everything going.
Right, because I remember meeting you, I think maybe a few weeks before at the candidate info session the city hosted, and you were asking a lot of questions about procedure, and I was like, "Oh, that's a new face I haven't seen before." Because usually in Mississauga, it's usually the incumbents who are either running or I've seen a few other familiar faces I've run before, but I think you're a new candidate because I don't recall seeing you on the ballot before. Is this your first time running?
Yes, this is my first time running. The previous elections, I was either in university or illegal to vote. So
Oh.
first time on the ballot, yeah.
Okay. Well, let's just get into some maybe basic information about you. Like, I'd like to know a little more about Brennan and what he's about. So why don't you tell me a bit about yourself?
Well, that's a very loaded question, but I'll do my best to. So my I've been in Mississauga for most of my life, born and raised. So literally grew up in Ward 10, what used to be formerly Ward 9, grew up in this community, went to elementary school, middle school, high school here. For university, went away, was gone for the past 5 years. So this is going into 2015 now, graduated high school 2015, finished high school, went away to university and college, came back in 2019. It was in my field, which is an orthopedic technician putting casts on people. As you know, 2019 leads into 2020, the pandemic. Throughout the pandemic, I'm seeing firsthand the problems in our society, such as people feeling isolated, people feeling alone, people feeling like hopeless. Long story short, this leads me to starting my programs in the community. They're called Services to the People programs, where I took the needs, I did a survey or I looked at what the people needed in our community and started providing services to them. So one of them was a clothing haul. So that to get people who needed clothes, I gathered clothes and then shipped it out to people. The other was the Amina program, which is named after the elderly woman I used to assist with her yard, Amina. So what we used to do is I would go over there personally myself and help her with her front yard, her backyard, just any little things to help improve her day-to-day life. And then what was the other program? The one I'm most proud of is the Space to Talk program. So I took some signs in the community that's literally said Space to Talk, put them at grasses and communities in Ward 10. So Churchill Meadows Community Park, or now known as the Friendship Community Park, and the Lisgar Fields Community Park. Took them there and just talked to people about whatever was going on with their mental health, their day-to-day, how they're surviving through the pandemic. And through these programs, I realized there was a lot of power in our city level that wasn't tapped into. There was a lot of innovation left on the table that needed to be addressed. So here we are. That leads me into now, May 2nd, 2022, following my nomination papers, having a lot of community support, getting the grassroots ready to go, and going to knock out the incumbent on October 24th.
Wow. Okay. Thank you for answering a lot. That was a lot of information. Probably at the end of the episode, I'll ask you to provide the links for all the maybe the projects you've been involved in, so we can let the people know where to go. I just want to show people since this is going to be on video, where Ward 10 is in Mississauga, and I'm going to try to share my screen here.
West
West
Mississauga,
Mississauga.
on the border of Mississauga and Milton. That last pocket on the top left-hand side.
Yeah, so it's basically this area of Mississauga that's west, yeah, right at the 9th line and around Winston Churchill. So you mentioned Lisgar and Churchill Meadows. Those would be the primary communities, I guess.
Yes, all the way up to Lisgar Go. So if you start at Eglinton Avenue West, and then just before Lisgar Go, the last street I believe is Black Walnut Trail.
Ah, wow. Okay, so you definitely know the ward,
Yeah,
know the area. You still live there?
yeah, I've always been there. I'm gonna stay here.
Great, great. So you dove into a few things about why you decided to run. Like it's sort of like it was just a bunch of number of community projects that you've been involved in, being involved in community, and no, I don't know if you realize, but Mississauga has a very strong incumbency factor, and the current councillor Sue McFadden, she's been in office since 2006, I believe. She won her last re-election with over 90% of the vote, and that was just against one candidate. I'm personally of some belief that it's easier for voters to have a choice when there's only two candidates, but you seem to I mean, but she won with like 90% of the vote the last time. So just curious as you, oh,
Let me jump into that. So she
okay.
won percent of the voting population. Only 16% of people in Ward 10 who are elected to vote went out to vote. So she won 90% of 16%, not 90% of 100%.
You
So yeah, she have those numbers, but there's 84% of people who aren't politically engaged. Those are the people I'm targeting.
Okay, yeah. So that's a good question. That actually allows me to go right into this. How do you engage the 84% who didn't vote last time, either because they just felt Sue McFadden wasn't going to win, or was going to win, or they just weren't like motivated? Like, how do you motivate that 84%?
Education, talking to them, being there. I've been out in the community for the last 2 years, legitimately every single day. I've been in the parks, I've been doing something. Those programs that I listed, I did them all myself. I created them myself. I funded them myself. I ran them by myself. There was 10 total. I just told you about 3 of them. The community knows who I am. The community knows how much effort I'll put into this. The community knows how much effort I've already put into this. And the community knows my face. I'm not someone who hides in my two-door audio. I'm not someone who's only comes to community events, takes pictures and leaves. I talk to every single person. Every single person knows who I am. So that 84% will show up. And that's why I know I'll win.
Okay. So do you have like certain specific like things you want to do as a city councilor that you want to put, like, do you have like a top 5 or like a top 10 list that you're putting out there when you're going to people saying, hi, I'm Brennan, I'm running to be a city
Yeah.
councilor, I want to do these things if I get elected?
Yeah, when I get elected, I'll be doing these. I have my whole platform. There's things that I'll do in the first 24 months and then things that I'll do in the last 24 months. So it's divided into two, the first 24 and then the last 24. It's a very clear and specific and very attainable. It doesn't require more a vote at city council. It's legitimately, I'm able to do this because I've already done it. So it'd be an expansion of the Space to Talk program, which will be, instead of it being me doing the talk, it will be teams our student therapists in the community going out and doing this, who will get their volunteer, who will get placement hours through their university. I've already partnered with therapists who want to send me students for this program. So legitimately, the second I win the election, Space to Talk with therapists in the community is good to go. On top of that, there was more volunteer opportunities for youth in high schools. As we know, we have a crisis in our communities in Mississauga. I'm not sure if you live in Mississauga or not, but we see a lot of violence. We see what's happening at what's that, the high school that just had the stabbing not too long ago. There's been stabbings multiple in Mississauga. There's been stabbings in Toronto. We need to get youth off the street. We need to give them something to do. You need to stop thinking that if you don't rap, you don't play basketball, or you don't sell like narcotics on the streets, that's the only way out. I'm providing that opportunity for them because we always say we want to engage youth, but then we don't have youth at the table. It doesn't make sense. There's too much hypocrisy and double talk, and I'm here to get rid of that.
Okay. Yeah. Just a side note, I grew up in Mississauga. I currently live somewhere else, but I do come back on the weekends. I'm familiar with a number of the problems and issues that have been going on in Mississauga for a couple of years now. So you mentioned a lot about having community supports, and it seems like the way I look at Ward 10 is a very typical suburban neighborhood. There's not its own community center. I think it's mostly in Ward 9. Prior to it being split off from Ward 9, Ward 10 wasn't really its own ward. So like there's a big like development being planned along the Ninth Line lands. I don't know if you followed that particular proposal to have it. I think the new community center is coming at some point. It's there, and like is there something you want to expand from that like new infrastructure project, or is it good the way it is? Like, would you do anything to improve what they're building on the Ninth Line lands right now?
So what's coming to the Ninth Line lines is good, but it doesn't provide things for people who are underserved. It's good for the people who can already afford to use these programs, because if you go to that community center, there's nothing to do where you can just walk in and hang out. There's no space for the youth to just go and hang out and be themselves, or a place to go study that isn't the library. So what I'm trying to do is serve the person. We're too focused on, oh, I have this idea, I have that idea, that never directly impacts a person. It's just, oh, let's improve roads, something generic like that. I'm here to serve the community and actually serve the person. I'm not here to just create like new ideas or new, or I am here for new ideas, obviously, but I'm not just here to, oh, here's a structure, let's focus on the structure and ignore the person. I'm here to focus on the person, and then from the person, we can build a new structure. We're doing it backwards. We're trying to put the structure in first before we fix the person. We need to build the person up before we can even look at the structure.
Another issue that Mississauga, actually, as well as a number of municipalities and communities across Canada, has been going through is affordable housing issues. Like the housing crisis is a thing, and it's doesn't seem like there is an ideal solution from anybody that's being proposed. Ward 10 is a very it's most of it's built out. It's very standard suburban housing. Although there are like townhouse developments that have been recently built that are, I guess, a little more other than the single detached model that has been used before. Like, what's your stance on affordable housing? Do you think the city needs to do something like put in more inclusionary zoning, or just completely revamp the whole zoning plan and just have something completely different in order to get more affordable housing built and more housing for people?
Okay. So the thing is that we're talking about the structures instead of the person. So what I'm coming to do, and what I will be doing, is making sure that people's expenses are decreased, so that you're able to have a bit more money in your pocket. That's the thing. Because if you're unable to afford a house because the groceries are so expensive, the gas is so expensive, childcare is so expensive, driving your kids around, etc., why don't we start to alleviate some of these stresses on people? And then when the time comes where we can make affordable housing, which is a big nuanced problem that involves the federal, provincial, and municipal, it'd be a lie for me to come here and tell you, oh, I have the answer for affordable housing. It'd be a lie for any politician. It's a whole thing where all of us have to work together, all three governmental levels, before we can even address it. I know people don't want to hear that, but what I provide is the truth. A lot of people will come here and say, oh, I'm going to do this, and this, lie about it, got none of it done, and then come back for your vote in 3.5 years. I'm not going to do that. What I'm here to do is to alleviate the stresses that you have on your day-to-day, so that you have more money in your pocket, so that you're not worried about saving for, well, you will still be worried about saving for a house, but you'll still have more money in your pocket, so that there's less of a burden on you towards saving for a house, if that makes sense. If you need me to clarify, let me know.
No, that's fine. I think what you're saying is very reasonable. It starts with like helping the person and just having a voice and just being open-minded. Like you said, you don't have all the answers, and like I don't think we'd expect everyone who runs our office to have like the immediate perfect answer, but we just expect them to be open-minded and just ask thoughtful questions, I think, at the end of the day. So another issue I think Mississauga has always been dealing with is transit. There's been a lot of like big time infrastructure projects that have been announced. I think recently the city announced that they were getting funding from, I think, the provincial government to do the
Sorry about that. Yeah, sorry about that. I don't know. Someone. Sorry, you broke up a bit. Someone was calling me.
Oh, okay, no problem. Yeah, I'll just repeat my question. My other
About
transit.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think like Ward 10 has like challenges with being serviced by adequate transit. I mean,
Yeah.
we do have Mississauga My Way, but like there's probably areas in the ward that are like hard reached by transit, so everybody still drives a car.
Yeah.
And although the city has like announced a number of major infrastructure projects, like is there something that you think that they should do more of in terms of the area of public transit?
I think we need to move away from everyone being in a vehicle to get around places and start getting more active, in the sense that we can bike to many of the places that we're trying to drive or bus to. So it's about getting people more like in shape and more comfortable on the bike. So making it more bike accessible. As you know, on a new community center, or I'm not sure if you know this, but in a new community center on 9th Line that you're just talking about, there's no way to walk there that's safe. So instead of putting it like just a beaten road dirt path, I'll put in a bike lane so that people can bike to the community center instead of always having to drive there to feel safe, or park somewhere and walk across, which is a dangerous cross to do because you're going through 9th Line. As you know, 9th Line on that border of Milton and Mississauga, a lot of traffic there. So things like that. So again, creative solutions. I'm not going to come here and say, oh, I'm going to make bus fare $2 because that's not feasible. But I'm going to come here and say, okay, outside the box, here's an idea. Let's get more people on bikes. Especially if you're a single commuter driving and you're not going to pick anything up. It's not that difficult to bike and pick up your groceries. I do that all the time.
Okay. My last question before I kind of go into a bit of campaign strategy question, but you kind of probably answered a bit of that already. I am a bit of a proponent of a ranked choice voting or ranked ballots. Yeah. Now, I don't think in the last election we've applied to Ward 10 since Sue got 90% of the vote, but 90%. She got over 90% of the vote. Yeah, but yeah, but in a number of like races across Mississauga, there are candidates that have been elected with less than 50%, and I think like implementing ranked ballots would be helpful at the municipal level. So I'm just wondering your opinion on that, like whether you're for or against it, and any other thoughts you have on like ranked ballots or maybe term limits or any sort of like things that would help enhance the democracy locally.
What would help enhance the democracy is if sitting incumbents didn't try to get other people disqualified before they file their nomination paper. I'm just gonna leave that. I'm gonna leave that alone. But what I'm a big proponent of ranked ballots. I'm a big proponent of first past the poll. Whichever one gets the right person in office and gets the most people out to vote is I'm cool with. So if you want to do ranked ballots, first past the polls, it doesn't matter. I know at the end of the day on October 24th, 2022, I'll be elected in as city councillor of Mississauga Ward 10. So. And I do believe in term limits because it doesn't make sense for the president of the United States to only get 2 terms, but then the rest of the Senate is lifetime appointments. And then we have that here in Canada where until the person decides to retire, no one tries to beat them because like you were saying, everyone thinks, oh, Mississauga, the incompetent will never lose. So here, that's another thing I'm going to change because people only go for, as you know, if there's an open seat like Ward 6, Ward 2, and Ward 9, people are going to run for those. But then, or now Ward 11 as well, people will run for that, but no one will run against the incompetent. And then they wonder why the incompetent gets comfortable and stagnant because no one runs against them and they know their job's secure. Ward 10's council position is not secure. It's the furthest thing from secure. Okay. Sorry, a lot of people keep reaching out to me, and
no, I understand. I mean, yeah. You would have a lot of people reaching out to you since you've become a candidate, so I can understand that completely. I guess like you mentioned already before, like your strategy is just to reach people, just to get that 84%. Like, are you doing social media? Are you doing like phone canvassing and door to door, or the typical like strategies, or are you doing something maybe even different than those traditional methods?
A magician never shows his hand until it's time.
Okay. Well, I think we can end the interview there. I want to thank you again, Brennan, for speaking with me, even in your busy schedule, just for this brief time. Just so I can let people know where to find you, like where can people find you on your social media or websites?
Right. So, my Instagram is my name, Brennan, and then a B with 2 underscores. The website, which will be ready on June 1st, is Brennan Bempong, Ward 10, all one name, .ca. So www.brennanbempongward10.ca. LinkedIn is my name, Brennan Bempong. I already gave you my Instagram, and an email is bempongward10 at gmail.com if you want to reach out and provide any service.
Yeah, I also remembered your Facebook. I think you referred to yourself as servant of the people.
No, my community members did that.
Community members.
Yeah, so someone gave me that title and I was like, I'll run with it. Thank you. Because we're trying.
Okay. Yeah, because earlier I was Googling servant of the people hoping to find you, but instead I pulled up the president of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, because that was his old sitcom that he used to be on when he was an actor.
I'm not an actor, I'm a real person.
No, just a random point because servant of the people was looking it up. And anyway, but thank you again, Brennan, for your time. And the election is on October 24th, 2022. Yes, Mississauga Ward 10 council candidate Brennan Bempong. If he gets, okay, he will say when he gets elected, I believe he would be the first black councillor elected since 1997, or oh my gosh,
Cliff
Giles.
Yeah, very corrupt. Don't compare me to him.
No, I'm not comparing you. I never. I mean, you brought up his name, so I just you would be the first elected since like in 22 years at least. But Sorry, what?
That's my lifespan. 1997 was the year I was born.
Wow. Okay, everybody, you heard Brennan is 25 years old, right?
I'll be 25 during the election process. Yes.
Okay. Well, Brennan, thank you again. I thank you for your time. And everyone, this has been fantastic from Munipoli Matters. Thank you for watching and listening, and I'll see you down the road.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.